Ooh. This is Richard back at you guys. Been a very, very busy Friday. Well, we got Jeremy's Toyota Supra in the house, 94 model from Lubbock. Go Lubbock. Makes 850 real world horsepower, big single turbo. It's a 3.8 liter, I believe, motor. A 3.0 built motor. Can you believe that, guys? And make that kind of power? That is unbelievable. So he brought the tranny to us to go through and see how we can make it better. We see some wear on the converter. We have a crazy adapter on the front of it and stuff like that. So the way his tech sheet reads off here, I spent 30 minutes reading all this stuff. He's got more money in this thing than I got in my house, I think. But anyway, this is a really, really nice car. But anyway, we're going to get in here and look at this thing and see how we can make it better and correct some things that he's got going on. But first of all, if you look here, this is his converter. If you come in here and look on this converter hub right here, I mean, there's 30 thousandths missing from here to here. It's that wore out. You can see here the converter should have been spaced back into the pump at least to right here. At least to right there. So we would have spaced this converter back into the tranny about 1/8 of an inch. But if you come over and look here, you can see here where the crankshaft bolts have been touching on the back of the converter right here. And you can see here it bolts on by 6 bolts. Now, even though it bolts on that way, you can come in here and put a washer here, 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 all the way around. But when you extend that out like that, you still want to come in here and make sure this nub right here is still sticking in the back of the crankshaft. Because if you pull this out of the crankshaft, when you space this converter, you just made one of the biggest problems of your life right there. Because that flywheel is going to flex so much from not being stuck in the back of that crankshaft. So that's something you want to look at. Now, not so much in your daily drivers like we talk about, your 400s, your stock street cars, your 460Es and stuff like that. You're not going to really have that type of issue. It's when you get into these tiny converters like this, your oddball bell housings, your Toyotas, all that type of stuff you've got to check. So we know when we get into this thing, the pump's probably going to be wore plumb out. So we could...
He drives this every day, back and forth.
Back and forth. Well, you can tell. I mean, that's why that converter hub looks that way. Plus here, he has no modulator. The tranny's locked down at max pressure. So there's a ton of pressure on this pump right here. Now we'll talk to him and see if we need to send this converter back to wherever he got it from, or can we send it to B&I in Oklahoma and have them repair the hub wear, look inside, put new bearings and stuff like that, and put it back together for us and be cheaper on him that way. So, but anyway, you can see here, it's already been cut off for an Ultra bell. It's got an adapter behind the bell housing that it adapts it to the Toyota bell housing. Now this here looks like a factory bell housing. It's not like an Ultra bell or anything like that, but it does look like it has some type of billet adapter behind it. So.
Dang,
Woo!
loud.
They are torqued in there. I'll put me a bigger battery on there and let me see if I can. I want to thank the gentleman that sent me this battery. I just got this in the mail the other morning. It lightened this gun up a ton. Believe me, I can use it a lot better and stuff without having this big one on there. Thank you very, very much. Now I can't pick it up, but sometimes you got to have that power. Make sure also you turn your check your battery and make sure it's full, and make sure your gun's turned up all the way. So, hey, it's not going to do it. That thing is tight. And plus, they probably got a little bit of Loctite on them, maybe. You just never know. My luck, they're normally over torqued. So somebody torqued them tighter than what they should have. So. They are tight. I mean, this gun about jerked out of my hand. Hey, J3, I'm not really familiar with that type of stuff, so don't know a whole lot about it. But I knew have like an art car fill tube and stuff. Get this bracket here off the back. Pretty neat aluminum adapter. I guess you can put a 400 Chevy behind anything. Now I believe this is just a fully manual transmission that they fixed. I believe is what he's saying. It doesn't have a governor in there at all. It's physically totally missing. So. Anytime you do, I mean, it'll be plugged at the valve body probably, instead of welding the governor up or something like that.
Which could be the plug in the valve that he's asking about.
Yep. Yeah, he's talking about some type of plug that everybody's telling him that he don't need or something. So we're going to get in there and look at that. The old bushing right there is really wore out. There's speedometers, some type of cable there. Now we still have our modulator plug and valve right here, like our existing video that we just did. So. Now I don't know how this thing spools or anything like that because it don't have a trans brake. Oh, that's pretty cool.
That filter's not even on the neck.
Oh.
Apparently. I don't know if you, but it's been run like that for a long time. You can see it.
Oh yeah, that's.
See?
Yeah, it's actually that tube's in backwards. It goes the other direction. It goes in like that. Well,
Oh no.
if I'm not mistaken. Let me get it out of there. They might have had it in right, but no, they got something going on here too. They've done some bending and prying and.
Like I said, the filter's not even on there.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna that a spring-loaded filter. That's kind of. And say the pan. Not too bad. We'll straighten all that up for him. Now he does have a screen filter. We should be able to get all that cleaned out of there and cleaned up really nice. Oh, that bolt's stripped. Oh, that's what it is. What we have to do is get in there and see if we can Healy coil that up and save the case. Now you can see here, it's had this hole plugged here for a manual capability. It's had the valve body plugged here in the back. Normally there's two tubes that come here, go into the case. They've been plugged too. I don't know if you can see that in there. Shine a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Let's see. Yeah, they're deep up inside there. Yeah. But you can see that bolt's totally stripped. Voila. Take that one. Here and see what we got going on. Okay. Now these gaskets you really want to look really close because they do make different ones in this one here. The one that'll come in your kit for this gasket here, you'll get two of them. So you really want to pay attention to what gasket you're putting on there. And your identification is going to be in between these two holes right here. They're going to look different. You'll see the gasket. It'll have your solenoid that used to be right here for your passing gear is missing now since it's a fully manual type system. You'll get two gaskets with this. It looked like this. But if you look at this gasket here, it's missing. Well, your kit's only going to come with one of these, and it's going to come with two of these, and you're going to have to identify it by these two holes right here. One will have a tail, and one will not have a tail. So it's pretty easy to identify it right there. So this is basically, by looking at this kit, this is a fully manual kit that they purchased. They did away with the solenoid holes and stuff like that. So no check balls will be in the case except the one in the trough right here. You can see right here. And they got one right here. So if you notice, this one's gone, and this one's gone. Come in here and look at your plate. Set it back on there. Anytime you got a trough, like here, you know you're going to have a check ball put in there. Now this ball right here, it's a little bit different story. What do we got right here? Oh, the case is busted. That's why that bolt's... Wow, we can't even put a helical in there. We can't even fix that. Wow. Well, that's not fixable. We can't even drill it or mount it or nothing. So we'll have to get a new case in that, unfortunately. And that's an 8-bolt bracket, so we're going to have to dig up. Actually, I got an 8-bolt case right there I just cleaned up. So we're good there. You can see here they took the accumulator and blocked it somehow. They just left everything out of it. You always want to make sure your pinhole right here is not wore out where this thing is just wobbling like crazy. You want to put a good accumulator cover on there. Make sure this little clip right here is in good shape too, where it clips on here. You always want to make sure that's good. Now, when they do the blocking on the valve body, when they plug this hole right here, they're going to come in here and grind this valve off right here. See if I can get this out. You can tell they didn't put the in there very straight. See, they put it in crooked as heck. They should have put it in straight, that way the pin goes in straight. Makes it easier to get out sometimes, so. And I might not be able to get this one out. Almost. Come on. Sorry guys, I'm gonna get this out of here so I can show you. There we go. Now this is a little different than I've ever seen before, this spring like this, but anytime you do one at home and you're going to do a shift kit or anything like that, you pull this valve out right here, you grind this land off. I like to grind it off all the way around. Don't touch these two, put it back in, plug your hole here, put this piece back in just the way it come out. Clean it up good, then you have a fully manual tranny when you block your governor back here. So pretty simple to do. But I don't see, the only thing I can tell you is that bolt right there, Teresa, is what he's talking about. You have a little washer right here. See that washer? They make two different ones of these, and and they make two different ones of these. So you better be careful when you put them together. You get them mixed up when you're going out robbing a core or something like that. Got your hollow bolt, goes in your support. So I definitely want to get rid of all these rubber hoses and stuff on this thing, because anytime you blow a rubber hose, I mean, it burns the tranny up like right now. So rubber hose isn't always your friend. And we have our reverse servo here. Third gear accumulator. Now, since this is a manual operation, it's not a trans brake operation, you're going to leave your rings on this piston right here. There's two rings on here. A metal one there, and there's a metal one right here. Some will be rubber, some will be Teflon, just depending. And your spring right here. Your trans brake spring will be a different color, usually a lot firmer. I'm going to try to take them bolts out. Yeah. Oh, my glasses. I think I'm going to shock that bolt just a little bit, each one that I do. That way, it might let me get it out of there a little bit easier. Anytime you have a tapered bolt like that, it's tapered, it's a lot tighter to get out. But if you give it a little whack sometimes, there you can get that baby right out of there. Look at that. If not, I probably would have stripped it out, twisted it off, something bad would have happened. Even though this is a bad case now, since that bolt's stripped out, that's sad, we're going to lose an 8-bolt case. Getting harder and harder to find. Let's see if I can do this. Nobody said transmissions were clean and easy. Let me tell you. Every time we build one, you have to clean up a totally different mess. Get it all cleaned up, start on another one. Get it built, get it all cleaned up, start on another one. So there's a constant cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. Get out of there. Try to tap on it like this, maybe. Snap-on tools and Matco tools are warranted for life, so you can hit them with a hammer, I think. Right, guys?
Right.
That's what I was thinking. If you can't smack it once with a hammer, it ain't a tool. But this being bolted to, even that thread there looks like it's gone. See that? That falls all the way down in there. See, there's no thread in the case. So that one's stripped out too. Probably half the threads are gone. We could have helicooled that one, and it would have been fine. But that one, you can't weld that back in there and fix that.
Oh, no.
See, this bolt here is almost stripped out too. So there. Okay. I'm ready to get inside this thing. See what it looks like. That's a pretty neat adapter though, guys. Look at that. 400 tranny to a Toyota. Didn't even know that existed. Pretty crazy. Like I say, that's one thing good about here is we get to see all the cool stuff. Get to open all kinds of people's presents. Now, if you notice here, we have a bushing in this one, where our other one that I showed you on our last video did not have a bushing. But since we don't have his torque converter here to show you, see this one here is self-centering too. So in other words, we could take this bushing out right here and it would keep the converter fuller a lot better. But you have to make sure that this stator right here, look here, down in here. See this piece down in here? Let me try to get it to turn, I'm sorry. Anyway, the piece way down in with the splines has a bushing in the back of the converter back there keeping that stationary. So it splines onto this shaft right here. See, so that's why you have to have that bushing right here. Well, when they put the bushing in the torque converter, they eliminated this bushing right here, see? And now the fluid can keep the converter even fuller. So, pretty good idea. Now you can run both. Bushing there, bushing here. I've seen them kind of fight each other a little bit though at times. So, that's not something that we do. Now we got some kind of crazy stuff going on here. Now, anytime we do a trans brake or something, they're wanting you to take that horseshoe spacer out behind the pump pressure spring right there, the boost valve. So, if you don't have one and you just got a factory spring, people like to space them up, put all kinds of washers behind them to raise their pressure. Well, the problem is they're not the one putting it in. They're not the one putting a pressure gauge on it, and probably nobody's going to put a pressure gauge on it. So when you shim this up, you physically really don't know how much pressure you got. So now, being that it's a 400, we're going to probably lose the pump. So we've learned now, I mean, these carry-out 400s with trans brakes and stuff, I'm getting a lot better at what type of pressure. But if we don't have them here, we can't put a gauge on them to see. So I can't guess and guess and guess pressure. So, had a small leak under here real quick. But we'll pull this boost valve and stuff out really quick and see what they did to us. Normally that just comes shooting out. Normally you can tap on it and it'll come right out. So that tells me they probably beat it in there with a hammer. Most of the time. I mean, that should have come out like normal. Okay, and it's not. Well, I can put some air through this hole and it'll push that pressure regulator valve back and probably push this out right here. But see how solid that is? It ain't even trying to be springy. But you can see all the washers they got stacked up right here. Looks like I got a couple of them in here that don't need to be there. So that's an iffy deal there because they don't know what type of pressure they have when they put this tranny in. And basically we give it back to the man. He's not going to know neither until he puts a pressure gauge on it. So we got a lot of wear here in the pump. You can see here the pump's wore out on both sides. A lot of grooving. Like I said, this converter here wasn't spaced right. On the end you can see it. You can see the wear on the gear right here. It just wore plumb out. I mean, this thing probably, you figure it's been sitting on there like that. It needs to go down in there like that. At least like that. But when it's up here like that, I mean, you just don't have no support on that gear, and then you just bump the pressure up to 200 pounds, and now you're trying to really put force on this gear, so there goes your pump. So now if you notice here too, they did not restrict converter feed at all, and that's something you want to do on a turbo car, because you're going to be all over that thing and trying to push the converter out into the motor and shove the thrust washer out on the crankshaft. So you got to be really careful. We do every one of them that way. Of course, you can see the pump gear's all grinded up through here. We're probably going to see a lot of wear here, like I showed in my other video. Once it starts getting a lip right here, the pump body's no good. You can see here it looks brand new, like it's never been touched. You get over here, you can see it already start grinding it. What happens is the gear starts running dry from here to here, and they can't get no oil back here on the back side. So GM put this little land in here off your pressure regulator valve to force oil back here on the back side of this valve, and that's why they did that. But I mean, it does help, but when you bump them up, I mean, anything can wear. I mean, now we don't have a billet shaft in here. This is just a stock shaft. I'll show you here. I have a billet shaft over here. You can see here, this is a transmission specialty drum. Here you can see how they re-splined it, put a billet shaft in it. Got big old splines in here now. If you looked at it here in a stock 400 drum, a little tiny shaft, little tiny splines, you can't even see them. And that's why they break out. So this transmission, for the power he's making and the power he's going to keep making, for a Toyota, you know, they can make a lot of power. So we're going to have to be definitely getting some parts in here for this thing. So, of course, it's Friday and everybody's already goes home early now. It seems like we can't get nothing ordered on Friday anymore. Okay, now this don't make no sense at all. I mean, we have a 5-clutch system here, and we have a wave in the forward drum on a 1,000 horsepower almost car. We do not want that wave in this drum at all. You know, if we can stack it up and get more clutches in here, that's what we care about. But we actually don't want no soft engagement. We don't want no type of wave in this unit. So that's a no-no there. And I believe this is just a stock hub. You hear that thud? If you come over here, or I'll come over there, and let me find this one. Stock. This is a strip right here. This spawns into your output, your intermediate shaft, excuse me, right here, and that is really bad about stripping. So we definitely want to get one of them put in there. If you can find a good 480E one that has the ting, it will interchange into the 400. Now we do have a band still in this thing, so you can tell he does some manual shifting. To me, I got to go looking. I don't think this is the right piston for this. I believe this takes a flat one. See, if you have this bumpy one here, you have a flat one here. If you have a bumpy one here, you have a flat one here. Well, we have a lifted one and a lifted one. So this one here, to me, is the wrong one. And that's probably why we have your engine brake band failure. See, I'd have to look at it more. If you get these wrong, it'll bring the band on and not even be applied because you put the wrong ones in there. When you bolt the valve body down, it automatically pushes the band on. So to me, that's what happened right there in that part of it. You can see here it cooked the drum, stuff like that. We'll get in here and look and see if the clutches are any good. And we have a 5-clutch high gear Alto style drum or clutches, excuse me. Now we'll be going back with the Allison clutches in this unit since it makes so much power, different steels, stuff like that. Now you can see we do have a bigger 34 element sprag, but we're going to have to come in here, cut this TIG weld off right here so we can open this up and look at the sprag and the races and see what they look like. Everything looks good. We'll put a new sprag back in here, put it back together, TIG weld the tips of the snap ring where it can't come off again, or put a double wrap snap ring on here and eliminate the problem that way too. So you also on these, you want to look in here and see if they took the seal off the drum on the inside. You have a seal on the piston here, you have a seal on the piston on the inside, and then you have another seal that goes on the drum. You always want to leave that seal off in this drum, and you want to always leave the seal off in the forward drum, especially in high horsepower applications. That way you're using the whole support of the piston to apply the clutch. Now we'll get down here and look at our intermediate stuff, see what they did to us.
People are probably saying, yeah, pull it out. Let's see if they did what they were supposed to with it.
Okay, you know, here of course we've had a 3-clutch system in a 400 forever. You know, everybody's come up with their own ways to try to make it better, kill heat, make the clutch apply faster, better, all kinds of crazy stuff. They went with steels that's got holes in them to get the oil off, to get the clutch to apply faster, you know, all that type of stuff. So, but on these here, we always go back with a 480 E4 clutch. One extra clutch, guys, is tremendous when you're making high horsepower. Believe me, tremendous. So, also on these snap rings, you can see this real narrow snap ring right here. The thickness is the right thickness for the job, but when you put these narrow snap rings in here like this, you can break the lugs off here where it goes in the case to keep this backing plate in for second gear. So what we do is we'll find a 48RE tranny, something like that, and get the wide snap ring that's about that wide and the same thickness and stick that in there, and let me tell you, you don't have no issues that way. And never put your opening in this cavity right here. Never put your opening like that. Always turn your opening to the like that, because they're bad about breaking these teeth off right here. So transmission specialties, actually they make a kit. You can take this band anchor pin out right here, and it bolts in there, and it puts a little moon-shaped washer thrust plate down in here to support the snap ring right through here. When you do a trans-bake application or something like that, and you're going to chunk your band, then you can put that in there. Then we have our bevel snap ring, flat on the bottom, round on the top, goes in just like that. Same way, don't put the opening in the gap, turn it where it's away from it. I'm going to come in and look at your bushings. These are nice looking bushings compared to them other ones. Remember, they were purple. Purple, purple. Same way the thrust washer was purple. Now you can see here, left our ring back out on our center. That way it applies your direct clutch with all the way through the whole piston. Basically, when you leave this ring off here, it's the same thing as leaving the center seal off inside this drum right here. So you want to leave that off, work your plate to get more volume and fluid in here. If you do all this and don't work your plate, then how are you going to expect your plate to flow more fluid to apply this bigger circuitry? So you have to drill the plate to make this circuitry fill up faster because you made it bigger. So that's something you got to remember too. We have a race here. So you want to look at this bushing here. You can see here, I kind of see here where it's starting to worm out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that little spot right there.
Yeah, I see it.
There's a lot of pressure in here and they start worming out. The fluid will actually make a worm trail plumb out of that bushing like a snake and come out the top. You can see it starting to do it.
Yep.
So high pressure causes it to do it, stuff like that. But Scotch-Brite your race here for your outer or your inner race for your sprag. Now this one here does have a snap ring in the case. Anytime you run a thin support here, you're going to have to run a snap ring. They also do make a thick one that you don't run the snap ring. So You don't want to put a thin one with no snap ring, then you have your support moving back and forth, so you don't want that to happen. Of course, we have a band here, your reverse band. It's called a low reverse. It's just as old as the rest of it. So we're going to need another band there. Get down in here. Didn't change anything in the bottom. They did some type of crazy stuff here, bent the tabs. That'll never work good, because you can never guarantee that's going to be perfectly flat and not take out your thrush washer. I'm shocked it didn't take that thrush washer out worse than that. We've got some bearings over there. We'll actually take this stuff, throw it away. We'll put a roller bearing down in here and get rid of this thrush washer. Makes a lot better unit. Same way here. Now we'll put normally there's a plastic washer here, and they went back with metal. So we'll still go back with the metal washer there. Now on these, you want to definitely make sure your pins didn't walk. Check for any pin discoloring, any wobbling on the gears. Check your sprag assembly. Make sure you put the right sprag assembly in it. Remember your your spring always pushes your roller uphill. That way you know you got it in the right direction. Change your bushing here. Like I said, we'll go in here and TIG weld these right here to keep these pins from moving towards this washer, because they will walk. It's not when, how, it's just they will walk. So, same way with your sun gear, you want to look at it really close on both sides of the teeth for any type of wear on your load sides, your drive, your coast side, either way. Now you notice we didn't have a lube washer in here like our other video showed to keep the oil in this Planet. Now we'll go out here in the trailer and find one and put one back in there, because we like to keep that plastic washer in there. That way it keeps the Planetaries full of gear, or Planetaries full of oil. How's that sound?
Yeah.
It's Friday. It is Friday. Now they do have two different thicknesses of washers, bushings that go in here. He does have a thick bushing, a narrow bushing, excuse me. They make a narrow and a wide, not thick. So they will retrofit either direction. Now he does have a stock intermediate shaft here. Nothing great. Like I said, this stuff will hold about 1,000, and then next thing you know, it'll start breaking. So you want to do it now or later? I'd rather you do it now. So same way with your bearings here. You want to look at all these, make sure your races are good. Now they do make bearings that have more rollers. There's a roller in between each one. So if you can find that and put that in there, that's a good upgrade too. And you can see this race right here, guys. Look at this. That's why I tell you to check all this stuff. Look how bad that race is where that bearing's been running. Mm-hmm. And it's bad. But what's funny is they had that bearing running like that. You know what, guys? That bearing don't even run that direction. It runs like that. So whoever built this tranny put that in right. Now, how they got it to work, it's wrong. They got it wrong, but how they got it to work is just because there was no critical thing that it was going to happen. This, let's see, was set down in there because of that chamfer. See, that ledge, see? So that's why it didn't kill the bearing right off the bat. But that's how they had it. It physically goes like that. Like that. See? It's the little thing that matters. If that would have been here, where there was no place for that lip, then this tranny would have made metal instantly, because there's no place for that lip. See?
Yeah, they got lucky.
So, same way, your rear planet, check your pins. Check for any wobbling or anything like that. Your outer ring gear, check for any wear there, stuff like that. This thing is going to need quite a bit pumped. So I'm going to have to get on the phone with Raymond at Transtar really quick. It's about 3:30, got plenty of time to order parts for both these. I got most of it here, but the hard parts and stuff I want to get in from Raymond. I get some rebuilt pumps and stuff like that. So, Patrice, I want to thank you for recording. You've been doing a very, very good job. It's Friday. I think I'm going to take you out to eat.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you out to the Big Texan in Amarillo, Texas. Guys, I didn't know if y'all knew it, but we have the Big Texan here in Amarillo. It's about 2 miles this way, And when we get done eating there, I think we're going to go to the Cadillac Ranch. It was about 5 miles this way. I already found my red can of paint, my John Deere green. I have me a black. I have me a silver. And I think we're going to go do some Cavite on them Cadillacs tonight. How's that sound, Teresa?
That sounds pretty fun.
Let's go have some fun. Guys, y'all don't forget to subscribe. Definitely enjoy what we're doing. Annie, you're still crashed. She's sleeping over there. Y'all have a great day.